Welcome back, Guardian. When Season of Dawn came and went, I wish I would have farmed out a lot more weapons than I actually got a chance to, so I thought I'd go ahead and make a guide for my top personal selection Seraph weapons. It might not be the ones for you, but I'm just going to give you my personal selection and the ones that I'm keeping, and explain to you why I'm keeping them. So let's get started and hop right into it. We'll start with the SMG first. Now when it comes to the SMG, there's not a lot of options for it. And this is really just going to be a fun gun for me. It's not going to be something that I'm going to be taking into like Grandmaster. This will be like a base game patrol type, just a fun weapon to carry around with me. You can see the options that are available right here. When it comes to the first perk slot, you have Firmly Planted, Ambitious Assassin, Pulse Monitor, and 4th Time's a Charm. The one that I think I would rather have above all those is Ambitious Assassin, because like I said, I'm going to be using this in base game, and getting kills in base game is not going to be that hard to do. When it comes to your barrel, my top two favorite in the game are Arrowhead Break, which is really good on this one. It gives you 30 points for vertical kick. My all-time favorite though is Chambered Compensator or Fluted Barrel, but Chambered is really my favorite one because it doesn't kick exactly all vertical, but it helps you with screen shake, and it also helps you with like giving you assistance to bounce the gun to a crit area. So if you're shooting in more like agile type angles, like flying around and things like that, Chambered Compensator can really benefit you in doing that. But Arrowhead Break is good when you have targets lined up directly in front of you. It makes it a lot more easier to control in those kind of situations. But for the final perk, I'd rather have VORPAL Weapon. It gives you 15% bonus damage against bosses, against vehicles, and against champions. Even though champions are registered as majors in the game, VORPAL Weapon still gives you that 15%. But like I said, I'm going to use this in base game. I'm just keeping it for like a fun gun. It's nothing too serious. Firmly Planted is always a good perk too, but with an SMG, I'm not going to be sitting and squatting and aiming at a lot of targets like that. Like I said, it's just going to be a base game, fun kind of weapon, but I'd probably use Drop Mag, Appended Mag, Tac Mag, Steady Rounds, Accurized Rounds, anything that'll give it more ammo or give it a little more stability. But either way, I'd be Ambitious Assassin, Arrowhead Break, and then VORPAL Weapon. Another one that I wouldn't mind having too, instead of VORPAL, would be Feeding Frenzy to go with the Ambitious Assassin, since it will be a base game type weapon. Kills will be happening a lot more, and that would benefit Ambitious Assassin, but either or, VORPAL or Feeding Frenzy. Even though 4th Time's a Charm would kind of benefit it, I mean, it's an SMG on console, and I'm going to be moving around way too much to sit there and try to focus all my crit shots, so I'd rather have the Ambitious Assassin for that reason alone, but that's just my thoughts on it. It's not going to be an important weapon to me, but let's move on to the next weapon that also will not be an important weapon to me, and that's going to be the sidearm. I've been using sidearms quite a bit lately because I'm forced to, because of the options that I have to select, because of the anti-barrier choices, but I'm kind of burnt out on sidearms to be honest with you. But out of all the options provided, it'd be Chambered, Arrowhead Break, maybe Drop Mag, Accurized, Steady Rounds, something like that, and then Full Auto, Demolitionist, even Field Prep or Auto Loading Holster, and then probably again VORPAL Weapon, just because the other options really don't have that much interest to me. But like I said, I'm probably not even going to farm out the sidearm. That's just my take on it if I did get one. Now moving on to the LMG, which will be a weapon that I might use more than I realize right now, but it'd be a good idea to farm out a couple of these because there's quite a bit of good rolls with it. Field Prep being one of them, and then Auto Loading Holster, and then Clown Cartridge. Now when it comes to the barrels you're going to get for the LMG, out of Arrowhead and Chambered actually is more accurate than Arrowhead Break on console. I tested both of them, and Chambered kicks a lot more vertically and is a lot more controllable when it comes to this weapon. But one of the main perks that I probably will end up using more than any of them will be either Clown Cartridge or the Field Prep. Here's the difference in the reload speeds with the Field Prep, which will also give you more ammo, and then in rare situations also more on scav pickups. But you can see the reload speed is double or maybe even a little bit more, maybe 3 times the reload speed. And you can also do the same thing you can do with rockets in Field Prep, where you crouch, reload, and jump, so you can be on the move with the Field Prep and get a ton more in reserves. Here's my vault and a lot of the other ones that I've been collecting to kind of just go through them. I've always been a huge fan of Mulligan, especially on an LMG when you're shooting a lot of long distance shots on console. Getting a lot of those refunded can really benefit you, especially going with the Field Prep. So if you're just spamming this weapon a lot, you're probably not going to connect a lot of those shots at range, and Mulligan can give you and refund that ammo. There's two that I'm probably going to be using more than all of them, and that is Clown Cartridge and VORPAL Weapon, because if you have Clown Cartridge and Appended Mag, you can get 95 rounds in it, which is a ton of ammo to have on an LMG of this caliber. Just being able to spam it and have 95 rounds in is a good thing to have. Other options would be like Field Prep, Disruption Break. If you're the type that, just likes to shoot your LMG just to bust a shield off and then go to your primary weapon. I did a lot of that in the Pyramidion when it came to the Harpies. I would just knock their shield off and then switch to my primary to save ammo. So in situations like that, it can be really useful. Even Auto Loading Holster and VORPAL Weapon, or Auto Loading Holster and Disruption Break. Clown Cartridge and Disruption Break, Field Prep, Disruption Break, things like that. I wish you can get Field Prep and Clown Cartridge, but when it comes to your interchangeable perk, I would rather have more rounds just because it's an LMG and the more rounds the better, and then also to increase the amount Clown Cartridge gives me, but you can't really go wrong with any of the ones that you saw in my vault. I have a feeling that Scarlet Keep might be coming back, so Field Prep and Disruption Break might not be a bad choice for that strike. There's probably some other strikes that are going to repeat themselves just like they started in Shadow Keep, and it's more than likely going to be going back around to hand cannons being the anti-barrier. If it loops in a complete circle, that'll be what the choice will be, so hopefully that's the case. If not, it might go back to scout rifles, who knows, but I have a feeling it's going to go back to hand cannons. But when it comes to the LMG, I'm kind of basing that around what's going to be happening in the next season and then the season after that. And those options that I have in my vault are really just geared towards Grandmasters in the futures to make sure that I'm prepped for all the encounters that I can foresee myself doing and how I'm going to be using that LMG. Somebody also might have a question about firing line, which is a cool perk and all, but usually when I'm slaying out, I'm not around my teammate too much. I'm usually off kind of doing my own thing. It can help in boss type situations, but it's kind of just, you know, whatever. I'm not a huge fan of firing line. I'd rather use the options that I have in my vault over them. I think they have more benefit, but to each their own. That's just the ones that I'm hanging on to. Now moving on to the next weapon, it's going to be the shotgun. I'm one of those players that's fusion rifle always over shotgun. I don't see myself using a shotgun anywhere except for like a fun gun type weapon. So assault mag, auto loading holster, steady rounds, lead from gold, slideways, trench barrel, and then shield disorient. If I'm going to use a shotgun, it's probably going to be shield disorient, to be honest. It's going to be meant for a specific solar encounter with any kind of enemy with a solar shield. The weapon doesn't really do that much damage. I mean, it's like a timeline vertex of shotguns, to be honest. That's kind of like the damage type that it does. So I think in that kind of situation, I'd rather have shield disorient to be able to control situations a lot better. But here's the ones that I'm hanging on to. I'm not really going out of my way to farm this weapon. This is just the ones that I've found that I've kept because I think they might be useful in the future, but it's more than likely just going to be a fun gun to hang on to. And always go with a lot of range on console. It connects targets when you're jumping towards that target, and the more damage you can do, the faster obviously they're going to be staggered and then killed. Same kind of with Crucible. More range, better. Rifled barrel, even small bore is good, things like that. But it's not really a gun that's that important to me. That's just the ones that I'm keeping. Now moving on to the auto rifle, which I might use more than I think, but it just really kind of depends. This is another gun that I'm really not going out of my way. I got this version. There's a couple other versions that I might actually grind for before the season ends, so I'm just not regretting not getting it. In case they do any kind of buff to auto rifles, I'll always have this version. But 4th time's a charm. Once I found that, it's a staple perk that I gotta have on it. It's a ton of rounds, especially if you can get extended mag. Arrowhead break is actually a good barrel for this one, and chambered compensator. It really depends on what kind of style of fighting you're gonna be doing. Arrowhead's gonna be better for lined up shots, but the one that I have right now is 4th time's a charm, fluted barrel, extended magazine to give it 40 rounds, which is really good for an auto rifle, and then either rampage or VORPAL weapon or something that'll give it extra bonus damage, or even swashbuckler. But those are the options that I recommend. Auto loading holster and rangefinder I found to be really good with this weapon too, but an auto rifle in the way that I use it, it's not going to be something that I'm going to main the entire time. It'll be meant for a straight crit shot situation like you saw in that Hydra, or it's going to be meant to just finish off a target. So I might, damage them, get them weakened, and then finish them off with the auto rifle to hopefully make a sell, but it's not going to be something that I'm going to try to go to each target and start trying to melt them. Auto rifles, especially in a Grandmaster situation, they don't hit hard enough. The time to kill actually makes you get hit with more damage than you're actually putting out. So it'd be situations where there's a lot of crit shot areas going on, like a boss, or it's going to be a finisher. But 4th time's a charm, once I found that on it, was really good. And then chambered or arrowhead break, maybe even fluted barrel, I found it to be quite nice on it as well. Gives it a lot of handling, makes it feel a lot lighter. And then swash, rampage, VORPAL, and then extended magazine. Even though I'm not a huge fan of extended mag on an auto rifle, the more damage the better, especially with 4th times. You can get a ton of rounds out, as it only took like 2.5 clips to take out that yellow bar Hydra. Even though it was patrol, normally it would take a lot more. So you can get a lot of rounds out because of 4th times, but farm whatever role you want. But I just found that one to be really just kind of a unique role that actually felt like a beast role when I was shooting it. Now moving on to the final weapon, the hand cannon. This was the main one that I made sure that I didn't sleep on farming, and I'm actually still farming out the perfect role, which I've almost got tailored, if not tailored. I just have to see by testing out a few more, but I think that I actually have the one that I'm going to keep the most. There's a ton of options you can get here. Firmly Planted is good, Ambitious is okay, 4th time's a charm is also okay as well, Threat Detector, but the one that I found to be most useful above all so far, what I've been doing before I even explain the role, is I've been going to like LNG Cabal champions and pretending like this hand cannon is the anti-barrier selection, even though it's not. When they put their shield up, obviously I can't pop it, but I've been doing a lot of like movement testing around them and stuff. But I figured out that extended mag, pulse monitor, and delayed explosives to get that 9% guaranteed bonus damage, which was actually nerfed a little bit secretly, I guess, but it used to be a little bit more, but it's 9% bonus damage all the time. Or I would either do VORPAL weapon and pulse monitor, but the reason why I would do pulse monitor is because when you're trying to pop their shield, especially the LMG Cabal champions, and you're strafing left to right, if they hit you and say you're in a situation where their shield is almost taken off, but you're at the final amount of rounds left or whatever, say you only have 8 rounds in this thing, or even 11, it's a weaker damage type hand cannon, and in that situation, if you do get your shield busted while you're against a champion, it'll throw 3 to 4 back in, depending on if you're at 0 or if you have a few left in there. If you have 0, it'll give you 4. If you still have rounds in it and get your shield busted, it'll give you 3, but those are extra shots you can get out to champions, and also just extra shots while you're in combat to keep doing more damage over and over again, and it's an auto-loaded type thing, so you don't have to have the hand cannon equipped. You can have your fusion rifle out and then get busted, and then forget to reload it, and Pulse Monitor will put 4 in there if you don't have it equipped. And I'm going to show you a situation just with 11 rounds using extended mag, which, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of extended mag because it slows the reload down a ton. But I figure if hand cannons are going to be the option, they're going to give us the hand cannon loader, the enhanced version again, same as they did during Shadowkeep. And if that's the situation, extended mag isn't going to hurt it that much. And this thing needs 11 rounds. 8 rounds is just not enough. Tac mag is 9, appended is 10. So either appended magazine or extended magazine. But I really think this gun needs 11 rounds to make it really a viable option, just because it's really weak. Some more testing that I did with it was I went to, like, you know, lost sectors or whatever, just any kind of area that had kind of an awkward slant to its ground, as you're seeing right here, how the terrain just isn't, you know, level terrain. And I'm just trying to really be sloppy with this weapon, because I don't care how good a weapon is when there's easy targets to shoot. I want to know how good a weapon is when it's in the shit and you don't have a lot of good angles to hit targets from, and you're jumping around trying to dodge around shots and things like that. I want to know how weapons handle in those situations. What kind of handling do they have? And even though I'm a huge fan of chambered compensator, and I would take chambered version of this to have extended mag, chambered compensator, or arrowhead break, I actually found full bore to be really nice with this, only because of how this weapon naturally kicks, which is extremely vertical, and to have that extra range for this weak damage type. Hand cannons have a horrible range fall off, so to get a ton of range on this weapon I felt to be really important to do a lot more damage with the delayed explosives per shot. The delayed explosive part of the round doesn't have any fall off, but if I can mix that in with a lot of range damage and keep this thing going in combat, I can make more cells and stuff like that. And like I said, this thing kicks extremely vertical, so full bore actually didn't hurt it as much as I thought it would. There's obviously barrels that'll give it a lot more stability, but I'm really not looking for stability as much because, like I said, the gun's already stable enough. It can get a lot more stable if I had arrowhead or chambered on it as well, but I think that range is also very important on this weapon, so if I can get a lot of range and enough stability on it and enough rounds, it's just a really weak damage type. So I think it's really good to balance all that and factor all that in, and you can see a lot of these situations going on. I'm just doing a lot of hip fire, I'm just spamming the weapon over and over again just to see what it's going to do, and you can see it getting refilled with rounds. You can see it to where it'll stun 2 champions with 1 clip, where 8 rounds won't do that. It really does benefit by having the 11 rounds, and I didn't think it was going to matter as much as it did, but there's plenty of situations. This video, before I chopped it all down, was like an hour long, but I had to cut just a ton of stuff out just to get to a lot of these different type of rolls and stuff. But if you come across full bore, extended magazine, pulse monitor, and delayed explosives, in my opinion, that's one of the god rolls that you can farm out. If you did get a different barrel with more stability, honestly, I don't blame you at all, because it took me a little while to actually get a hang of full bore, but once I did, I realized how important that range is, especially in harder activities, which is where I'm going to be using this if it is the anti-barrier option. It's really important against champions and stuff, as well as the pulse monitor. If I ever get my shield busted, I can keep getting like 15 rounds out instead of 11 because of it feeding those rounds back in. So if I'm ever in any situation where I've almost got an ad dead or almost got a shield off a champion, but I get my shield busted and normally I'd have to back out and reload, I don't have to reload anymore. I can just keep firing the thing and, you know, get the shield taken off and then reload it or whatever. It just gives me a little more tactical advantage by having that roll. But to each their own. That's just the weapons that I'm collecting, Guardian. Let me know in the comments what weapons you're collecting and which ones you like out of the ones that you've seen today, and if you already have some of these weapons, let me know about it. But if you want to join our Beast Squad, I highly appreciate that. You can go to the About section as well and join my Twitch channel. I also live stream on YouTube a lot, or you can join the Discord and chat with other Beast Guardians as well and talk to me directly if you have any other questions, as well as get builds and any other guidance and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm gonna hop on out of here and get my grind back on. You Guardians take it easy, and I'll see you all in the next video next time.
In space,